How do we cultivate a resilient and responsive distributed design community? As an active partner for the Reservist project, Fab Lab Barcelona is organizing this chat series called Resilient Maker Stories. We invite speakers from different parts of the globe to share their personal experiences and inspiring stories of making and responding to the moments of crisis. At this point, one may ask, what is distributed design? Distributed design is emerging at the intersection of maker movement and design sensibility. It provides a framework for designers, makers, and creatives to innovate in the field of design towards it being a more sustainable, open source, inclusive, and collaborative practice. At this moment, I would like to quote Enrico Bassi from his book, The Viral Design. All situations that occur on a global scale that are not met with effective responses in the industrial production system could be approached from the way we have seen distributed mobilization happen in the COVID-19 crisis. They could, in fact, be the next testing ground for a synchronized international response from a global network like ours. Coming back to the project, Reservist explores repurposing manufacturing lines for providing assistance with medical equipments and services in case of spiking market demands. The approach is to set up so-called reservist cells, which in times of crisis can be activated within 48 hours to switch and produce the necessary resources. The project has also collaborated with Masters in Design for Emergent Futures, which I am an alumnus of. We've worked with activities like scenario mapping and systems mapping using tools like Atlas of Weak Signals, developed with researchers like Marina Quintero at Fab Lab Barcelona. We are also in the process of developing a publication called Emerging Reservist Cultures, which is co-authored by my research instructor, Marion Reel, our research instructor and former host, John Luke, and yours truly. Resilient Maker Stories is also in association with Make, which is an amazing initiative working on hardware-focused digital innovation hubs, including makerspaces as key drivers for entrepreneurship and local digital innovation in Africa and Europe. The network is currently coordinated from Cameroon, Germany, Ghana, Denmark, Spain, South Africa, and Austria. The scope of Make expands into these various sections, and they have developed many cool initiatives like the Joint Policy Agenda and Maker's Passport. For everyone who's watching and is curious, please visit makeafricaeu.org to find out more. Now, for today's episode, I would like to welcome Omar, who is the Managing Director of Fab Lab Egypt and co-founder of Sanatech, which is also a Make Africa associated organization. Hi, Omar. Welcome to Resilient Maker Stories. How are you doing? What would you like to add?
Hello, Vaikan, and hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be here today, and I'm really excited for this discussion.
Welcome to the episode, Omar. Let's take a moment, and would you want to tell the viewers about your background and how you became a maker?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm Omar Elsafty, a 30-year-old middle child from a middle-class family. Growing up, my family's financial situation and the poor quality of education in Egyptian public schools forced me to self-learn all the way. Though challenging, this experience helped shape my character. I pursued computer science in college, and during my university years, I actively participated in the 25th of Jan revolution, which was a real turning point for me and for the innovation ecosystem in Egypt generally. And in the aftermath of the revolution, hundreds, if not thousands, of community-driven initiatives burst out everywhere in Egypt. Among them was Fab Lab Egypt. I became involved with Fab Lab Egypt as a summer job at the beginning. And I quickly fell in love with the DIY culture and its cause. Previously, I had sought excitement through extreme sports like parachuting, parkour, and these kind of sports. But my involvement with Fab Lab Egypt provided a different kind of adrenaline rush. And you need to run an NGO or a community-driven enterprise in Egypt, and you will understand what I mean. From 2011, when I started as a lab assistant at Fab Lab Egypt, to now, we faced the challenges that have only made me more and more passionate about what we do. Over the years, I've taken various roles at Fab Lab Egypt, including community manager from 2013 to 2015. And during the same period, I graduated from Fab Academy to advance my technical skills and to strengthen my ties with the global network of Fab Labs. Then I got assigned as a general manager in 2015. And in the same year, we hosted the first Maker Faire Cairo, which I had the honor of leading its team. And as we continued to grow and shoulder more responsibilities, we founded Sanatek in 2016 as the parent company and the overarching umbrella for all of our initiatives and products, including Fab Lab Egypt. Also in 2019, I co-directed Fab 15, which was the first ever Fab conference to take place in the MENA region. And today, I'm one of the co-founders and the managing director of Sanatek. I'm also a gig member and part of different initiatives and projects locally and globally as member or advisor. And I'm really super proud of our journey so far and super excited for what's to come. For the part of becoming a maker, actually, I don't believe in the term becoming a maker because we are all makers inside. You just need to explore and connect with this side of yourself and cultivate it. In my opinion, becoming a maker is not a transformation that occurs to us, but rather a discovery of a pre-existing part of ourselves. We are all makers inside at heart and by nature. We just need to explore and connect with this side. I might not have much time now to build cool stuff, but I do try to influence my small circles by encouraging them to build instead of buying. And I actually can refer to myself as a type of makers who make and build local communities.
We are very proud of you, Omar, and
Thank you.
we are very glad you're here. And while you were talking, you mentioned various values that makers usually associate themselves with, which is building and passion. And you also mentioned Maker Faire back in Egypt. So for the viewers watching, Maker Faire is an event hosted annually and a collective built on curiosity, collaboration, and resourcefulness by makers and experts of all ages all around the world. So Egypt had its first Maker Faire in 2015. And I would like to ask Omar, how were you involved and how did it change things and how has the transition been to the last Maker Faire this year?
Okay, Maker Faire Cairo is one of my all-time favorite projects. The story began in 2014 during the height of the maker movement, where when there were many funds dedicated to maker-related activities worldwide, actually. I remember hearing about a Maker Faire happening inside the White House. Then luck played a key role when the U.S. Embassy approached us the same year to get involved in their technology club. They were launching inside their cultural center. So they invited us to give presentations and conduct small workshops for the public there. And they also suggested that I and one more team member apply for their IVLP program, which is an exchange program where we would visit maker spaces around the US and attend the World Maker Faire, which was happening in New York. We got super excited and we had this crazy spontaneous idea. We proposed the idea of organizing a Maker Faire in Cairo, and we asked the US Embassy to sponsor it even before I traveled and attended the event to learn how things were run. They were interested, and our visit to the World Maker Faire turned into a field trip or a work trip where we analyzed everything and learned how to make our planned event work. In 2015, we managed to organize the first ever or the first official Maker Faire in the region, and it was really shocking and a turning point because we never expected that 5,000 attendees would show up. Once the event was over, we started communicating with Make to plan the next version. And in only 1 year, the event moved from the mini category to the featured category. In 2016, it was even more of a surprise because almost 7,000 attendees showed up, and the venue and agenda were not ready to accommodate this many people. We faced a lot of challenges, especially with the workshops that required registration. And actually, I can remember Dale Doherty, whom we invited to the event, who is the founder of Make Magazine and Make Affair, of course. And I can remember him telling us, while he's watching us panicking, that we have huge lines of crowds waiting for the workshops. He was telling us that this is a good problem. And actually, it was my first time to hear this term. And from this moment, I started looking at things from another perspective. So this year, 2016, was a confidence boost, and we were assured that we did a good job and that the community is rapidly growing. Since 2016, the event has been growing every year, and the team has matured, learning everything on their own due to the financial constraints, and so we had to do everything ourselves. We didn't have the luxury to hire some sort of agency to do all the stuff for us. So we're proud of the impact we have left behind, how excitedly the makers are waiting from year to year to take part in the event, how families leave us messages after the event about how happy they are and how inspiring it was for the kids, and how sponsors and partners are supporting us passionately. So Make a Fair Cairo now is a yearly ritual, and that none of us nor the community can imagine not having. And we're beyond happy to announce that the 9th version in a row is coming next October.
That's really exciting. Can't wait for it to happen. While I was doing my research to interview you today, I was trying to create this trajectory of how from first Maker Fair we have come to Sanatech today. And since the first Maker Fair in Cairo happened in 2015 and Sanatech was founded in 2016, is it somehow related? And I'm also very curious to hear, why is Sanatech called SAN3A Tech? Like, what's the three? What is it about?
Okay, so I'll answer the second part first, and then we'll get back to the story.
Sure.
So actually, Sana'a means craft in Arabic. Actually, it can mean different things, but the word that can be relevant to the name is craft or a craft or a skill. But we in Egypt we have this type of communication, especially between the youth. It's called Franco-Arabic. So we use numbers, the English numbers. Actually, this is really interesting because I'm not sure if many of you know that these numbers are originally Arabic numbers, so it's kind of confusing. But we use the numbers we know to represent the letters that is not easily pronounced in English. So, for example, when we say Ya'ain, which is in Sana'a, you don't have like a letter that represents the same pronunciation. So Ain in Arabic is kind of look like 3, but in a reverse form. So we use this to be somehow, relevant to how we talk as youth in Egypt at the moment.
Since we are talking about
numbers, and also to make it readable for foreign communities,
Yeah, but since you mentioned numbers, there's 3 in Sanatech, but based on what I have read, I think Sanatech was founded by 2 co-founders, and since the day that it started and to today, how has the team evolved? What does it look like?
Okay. So I can get back to the part where we were talking about creating Sanatic and why this happened.
Yeah.
Actually, Sanatic had 4 co-founders. One of them is myself. So
Mhm.
Hisham, Mahmoud, and Dina. Um, okay, so answering your questions, um, okay, I don't believe that we were inspired to make certain decisions of having Sanatic, rather we were somehow forced to do so for various reasons. And actually it turned out to be a very good step at the end. So Fab Lab Egypt was initially established as an NGO, and we faced numerous challenges to the political and financial situation in Egypt, including government restrictions on
Mhm.
various activities, as well as restrictions on funds or transactions coming from outside Egypt. All the time, actually at this time, a significant portion of our revenues came from foreign donors, offshore clients, and corporations. So in light of these obstacles, our team was somehow forced to find innovative ways to sustain the business financially and continue supporting the community. So one key step was transitioning from a company, transitioning to a company from NGO to a company with a social enterprise model,
Mhm.
which was necessary since Egypt's laws don't currently recognize social enterprises in law. So this was like our primary challenge. Furthermore, since we were self-funded from the start and we had to bootstrap, we had to diversify our revenue sources to sustain our operations. And because we didn't have the luxury of time to experiment, different things, so we had to do like this too many different things to figure out what we're really good at
Mhm.
in short time. So in 2016, we found ourselves in this situation where we have different business models targeting different audience and different groups in one basket. So we decided to separate products, each with its aligned business model, all backed by one overarching entity to provide legal cover and to maintain the harmony of the team working on these different products. And this approach helped us focus more and give each product the space it needed to grow and scale. um, and also to give you like a better understanding of what we really do at the moment. Sanatic now has 3 main products, and we have 2 more products coming this year. The 3 current
Mhm.
products are Fab Lab Egypt, Sana Academy, and Maker Faire Cairo. Through these products, we're providing 7 services: makerspace access and machine usage, which is the typical known model for the makerspace around the world, where the public access the facility and use the equipment for small fees and so on. And this is provided by a network of 7 Fab Labs across the country. Um, Engineering services, which is the professional and commercial service we provide for startups, corporates, and business owners in the industrial sector. And we provide door-to-door rapid prototyping and product development service. We also uh, provide lab installation, long-term and short-term educational programs, capacity building programs, support programs for incubators and startups, and lastly, community events and activities such as Maker Faire Cairo discussions, exhibitions, and so on. So this is Sanatic. You were asking me about the team. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I think you'd like to know more about our team, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm beyond. We are beyond blessed to have the current team at Sanatic. They are amazing. However, reaching this point took us years of experimentation, facing challenges and failures, and even building versions of toxic teams and environments. We have learned things the hard way. Now we have a brilliant, diverse team of 33 full-timers, as well as more than 25 part-timers and volunteers working tirelessly to run all of our products across the country. We are proud that 55% of our team is female and 45% of executive managers are also female. We strive to develop a transparent and innovative culture, as we believe that one of the core values of the maker movement is to encourage people to explore and not to be afraid of breaking things in order to learn. We also adopt this approach in our work environment. We encourage our team to always explore, try new things, take responsibility and risks. We are all here to learn, and by facing many challenges together, we have already overcome them, making it less, daunting to take new ones. Another interesting thing that around 30% of our team are alumni of our different educational programs. We give these former students opportunities to join our team, as we believe this enriches our team with diverse perspectives and allows us to foster a strong sense of community and ownership.
Based on the stories that you are telling all of us, I think out of many common things between us, I think both of us really like talking about inspiring stories. And just like Resilient Makers stories, you were talking about the women at Sanatec. And at Sanatec itself, you started this podcast titled Go at Makercast. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and the importance of representation of female leadership in makerspaces?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so Guta Makercast is a podcast that began as a collaboration between Sanatec and Guta Institute in Cairo. And I'm humbled to be the podcast host. It was part of the launching campaign for their makerspace inside the institute, and we both decided to continue the project because it was really inspiring and it was really impactful, giving exposure for these makers. So we invite makers and innovators to share more about themselves and their work and how they got involved in what they are doing. And it's actually fascinating to find that most innovators face similar challenges. And this gives us, better understanding of their pain points. The podcast also serves as a platform that gives exposure to these innovators, which is a significant issue for makers in the region, as they often do not receive the same level of attention as high growth startups and service-based enterprises. Many makers lose their passion along the way because they do not receive enough exposure and encouragement, and it definitely raises the awareness of DIY culture and the public, as hosting different makers can be relevant to a bigger audience. Answering the part of equal representation. So I believe equal representation is highly important in the future of making and DIY. The maker movement is all about democratizing access to tools, knowledge, and resources, and ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to create and innovate. So, however, historically, certain groups such as women, individuals from lower socioeconomic backgrounds have been underrepresented in the field of making and DIY. So by promoting equal representation, we can ensure that everyone has the opportunity to participate and benefit from the maker movement. This means not only creating more inclusive and diverse spaces, but also providing access to resources and opportunities to those who have been historically excluded. It also means acknowledging and addressing the systematic barriers that certain groups face in accessing these tools and resources they need to make and innovate. For example, the impact of the Girls Make program on
Mhm.
the participating girls and their close circles cannot be underestimated. In addition to the skills they acquired, the girls gained a level of confidence that was reflected in their participation in various programs after our program. They've been participating in activities and competitions. They even were proposing ideas to include more girls and how to capitalize on the skills they had gained. And actually, it wasn't just the girls who were affected. We were also impressed by how their parents, who were initially resistant to their participation in the program, became extremely supportive and flexible after the program. They even recommended the program for other parents, to other parents. This kind of change has the potential to grow exponentially and last a lifetime. So the Girls Make program can be an excellent example of how investing in underrepresented groups can lead to a positive outcomes that extend far beyond the program itself.
Impressive and very impressive, to be honest. And based on what I can hear, turns out Sanatech is doing all the work to fill in the gap when it comes to fostering new initiatives, inspiring people and marginalized communities to take charge by making. So, according to you, based on everything that you talked about, what role is maker movement at Sanatech playing in Egypt's economy and society, and how is it contributing to innovation and growth locally?
This is the hard question, because I can say that the maker movement has a direct impact on Egypt's economy and society at the moment, but I can definitely say that it had its positive impact over the last few years.
Mhm.
And this can be validated by observing how the local community is now aware of terms such as do-it-yourself and makers, and how the society and the policymakers are giving more attention to the innovation ecosystem, and this interest grows steadily every year. So actually, the 3D printing in Egypt is a notable example. In 2012, the term, when we initially launched Fab Lab Egypt, the term of 3D printing was a relatively unknown term.
Mhm.
But now it's common to find 3D printed solutions across various industries, and many individuals and businesses are earning income by providing 3D printing services or manufacturing even local 3D printers. Um, Given the current economic situation in Egypt, the maker culture is, in my opinion, is no longer a luxury, but rather a necessary mindset for building a community of innovators who can design products and to find local solution for manufacturing. This can potentially become a key driver for economic recovery and growth in the future for the country. By
Mhm.
encouraging individuals to create and sell their own innovative products, the maker movement can also help to create new job opportunities and foster a culture of entrepreneurship. Additionally, also the maker movement is also having an impact on education in Egypt by promoting hands-on learning and encouraging students to develop their own projects. The movement is helping to develop a new generation of creative and innovative thinkers. This can lead to a more skilled workforce and a more competitive economy in the future. And it's truly exciting to witness the growing number of maker spaces being established by both the public sector and universities in Egypt, for example, as well as increasing number of organizations that are interested in supporting this culture. And this demonstrates a growing recognition of the potential of the maker movement to drive innovation and growth in the country. However, there is still a long way to go.
Yeah, like when you talk about learning, the learning ecosystem is constantly evolving, like how learning and upskilling used to look a few years ago doesn't look the same anymore in very good and great ways. So for the people that who are watching and who would be watching, what would you have as advice for aspiring makers or new learners or innovators who are just starting out, particularly in regions where resources or support may be limited and emerging only very recently?
Okay. So innovation and community innovation and community driven initiatives and movements are never easy. And it's often involves with facing challenges, setbacks, and failures. So inspired by the title of the series, we all need to be resilient. And this means being able to bounce back from setbacks, adapt to change, and trust that the process of building innovative communities takes time. If we're looking for sustainability, then we should embrace long-term impact. Also, however, limited resources is a common challenge for some regions. It can also be an advantage because when we have to work with limited resources, it forces us to think creatively, prioritize, and find innovative solutions. We have to be resourceful and use what we have available to us, which often leads to new and unexpected ideas. In fact, some of the most brilliant DIY and maker initiatives and inventions worldwide have been born out of resource constraints. So innovating and swimming against the flow can be hectic and tiring. Remember to take care of yourself, take breaks, seek help when needed, and surround yourself with people who believe in what you believe in, and never tolerate any red flags or toxicity within your environment or your community.
Great, awesome, astounding, to be honest. And I can say officially, I have run out of adjectives to appreciate the work that you're doing. So I would like to conclude the episode for today and say that, Omar, it's been a pleasure to speak with you today. Your passion for the makers movement and your dedication to empowering learners, makers, and young innovators in Egypt is truly very inspiring. Thank you for sharing your experiences and insights with us, and for being such a great example of what a maker, change maker, a leader, an entrepreneur could look like. It's a privilege to have you share your expertise and a story with us today. For the viewers who are watching, please find Omar and Sanatek at www.san3atech.com. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great day. See you at the next one.
Thank you so much for your time and for the opportunity.
Good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.